guys, and welcome back to the channel. So today's video is going to be on the Mitsubishi Evo 8 service in Cambelt. We're going to show you the processes, and then what we're going to do is I'll take you up into the office afterwards and we can go through some prices and some commonly asked questions. So I'm going to hand you over to Josh. He's going to be doing the work. He's over in the unit, so let's get into it.
Hi guys, so today we are going to be doing a full service on this Mitsubishi Evo 8. Quite a nice example from what I can see on the outside. In a minute we'll get up on the ramp and we'll do our first inspection. So that is the first port of call when it comes to getting a car in. So you'll do a full inspection that involves checking everything out, all the way from basics with window wipers, seat belt check, headlight and rear light check, all the way to make sure the oil leaks, or if there's any oil leaks, you know, you advise it. You know, with these sort of cars, it's any advisories on corrosion that's happening, everything you can think of, give it a good check over and we write it down. So over here, on top of the toolbox, I have like an advisory sheet. So this is where I write down all my notes about what's wrong with the car, or anything I pick up on or any advisories. Like I said, anything from worn parts and either replacing, leaks, or just wear and tear items. On this job card here, this is basically just a breakdown of what I've got to do. So it's just little things like there's an MOT test at the top, nothing directly to do with me, but I'm aware that it needs an MOT test, so I have to keep that in mind. Job card here breaks it down into individual pieces here for us to look at. So the part I'm doing will be full manufacturer service, a pre-MOT check, which kind of links in with your general inspection with the service, and a replacement Cambelt on it. So below is all the parts, it's just noted down for us to sort of tick off as we go along. I mean, most of us know, all of us know it off by heart by now. So that's just quite simple, but just to run through it, it's stuff like oil filter, AYC fluid, diff oils, engine oils, some plug washers, alloy washers for like your gearboxes, transfer, rear diff. Spark plugs to be checked. We check the spark plugs on every service and advise the customer if they need to be replaced or not. But else, gearbox oil, and then Cambelt kit. So next step is to get the car up on the ramp, start doing the full check over, and then what I will do is probably dive into the Cambelt straight away, as long as there's no massive problems stopping me from doing it. And then after that we'll go and do the full service. Jesus. Boom, balance shaft belt, pulleys, oil filter, sun plug washer. So all I'm doing is just checking some general checks, checking the tip, checking the ground strap, checking to see how it runs. It's very hard to get a very accurate picture of how a car's running when the spark plug's been run for a long time. You can get a bit of a brief idea. Seems to look like it's fine. One of the main things to look around for like a spark plug age is looking around the bottom of the base of the ceramic. You'll start to see people start blowing past and start going yellow once they start getting old. So these look relatively quite new in all fairness, and they look like they've been in the car or done very many miles on the car, should I say. So they'll be absolutely fine. Tread depth gauge, just checking the depth of the tyres basically. You can go across all three or get an average across one tyre. That's probably the best way of doing it in per corner, but yeah, on average use about 5mm tread. Brake pad thickness gauges. Pretty much brand new, hardly been used. Just checking the face of this to see how they feel. Sometimes it can feel quite small. All seem quite fine, so not done a lot of miles. Right now I'm just checking over the inside. I'm having a brief look over and just going to note anything down that I find. From what I can see from first glance, the backing plates are quite heavily corroded, actually starting to fall apart. Subframe is starting to get a bit corroded itself, and all this sort of back stuff here. Just a little advisory to put down just to make the customer aware. You ain't going to be able to see it on camera, but I can see that the front like rad support is quite corroded. In all fairness, starting to see it a bit more often in all fairness on these later Evos now. And another thing I picked up on is this sump's quite corroded. and it seems to be slightly missed along here. But something else that's really common on these Evos, that goes from 4 to 9, is the oil cooler pipes. So you can have a look here, you can see where these are normally would have been hydraulically crimped from factory, and as time goes on they get corroded, and they'll get to the point basically where they'll burst because the crimp can't hold on any longer from how corroded it is. So that's starting to get on quite a bit now, so that will be an advisory just to let the customer know as well. But yeah, I'll keep looking over the car. Yeah, just having a look over the rear end here. I've only just started, but brief look over. First thing I always look for, as I'm sure most people who watch this now know about it, rear chassis links. Unfortunately this car is starting to show signs. The first obvious sign is that it's actually had a patch repair above the back box here in the past, which is fine if you want to get it through MOT, you know, and it's quite a localised repair. I mean, that's more a patch. Okay, it's fine. That's all okay, but when it starts showing like this, so I don't know if you're going to be able to catch it properly, but where this subframe is, you can see the mounting point, and then you can see where it's starting to corrode quite bad here. You can actually see where I'm picking bits away. There's multiple skins there, but yeah, I will advise that because as time goes on, it can become quite a real safety issue. Because not on this at the moment, but on some cars in the past, I have seen where it gets so bad that like, it's almost like the subframes get ready to fall out. If that makes sense. So you really don't want that to be happening. That's quite an extreme case, but there's things to watch out for. Update. We're diving into the Cambelt. So that's top Cambelt cover off, as you can see. We're taking it off. Basically, got to remove the engine mount, drop the engine out a little bit, move the auxiliary belt, crank pulley, tensioner, a couple of other little bits and bobs, water pump pulley. After that, you can then remove the lower time belt cover and then actually get the engine timed up in the top of the centre. And then start, Cambelt replacement process from there. Right, yeah. So now we've just finished putting the Cambelt on. So that's balance shaft, main Cambelt. You can see most of it down there. Just a quick chuck on the floors. I was working away. Pulleys and tensioners replaced, etc. So yeah, it's all timed back up, tensioned. It should be now. I have got the lower cover on now, so it's not too much to show. But it's just basically the Cambelt. That's all it is. Now it's just the process of building it quickly back up. So you've got your crank pulley, auxiliary belt tensioner, idler pulley, engine mount, etc. and top Cambelt cover. Once that's all back on, we'll be good to go again, and then I can get on with the service. Next step is to carry on with the rest of the service. Yeah, so we'll start off with draining the oil, dropping the oil filter, letting that drain out, and in the case putting a sump plug back on with a new washer, new oil filter, and we'll move on to the gearbox, transfer box, rear diff, so forth, and we'll go through each step as we go along. So yeah, this oil doesn't look very old in all fairness, so I'm going to guess it's not done many miles. It's just been stored away for winter. Does that look really clean? Some very clean oil.
Fresh, yeah.
Alley washers, yeah. So these are new alley washers. I'm just replacing them because the old ones crash and they become unusable and they'll end up leaking. Okay. Yeah.
Clean again?
Yeah, it's not done many miles. Right, don't know if you can see me properly on there, but Reagan's been used at his job again and left me to vlog on my own, left me with his camera, so I'll do his job for him. Oh, he's just come wandering in now, trying to look like he's busy, but at the moment I've just finished doing the transfer box oil change. Nice of you to join us, Reagan, but I'll crack on and keep on with the work, shall I? Keep the work flowing. What are you going to tell me? What's next?
Rear diff,
Yeah, what we're going to do?
drain it,
Drain what?
the fluid.
What, just one fluid?
2.
Yes. Come on! Top tip. If you decide to do one of these yourself, ask for the AYC and ask for the gear oil, or the actual diff oil itself. Don't get them mixed up. See it loads of times, if you mix them up, this ends up grinding against the crown wheel. So don't do it. And for reference, AYC diff oil. Also, another telltale sign to know if your rear diff is going bad, that the two fluids should never mix. And there's a seal in between, sort of like sealing the gear oil side and the AYC fluid side. And if that seal goes bad, then the fluids will mix, and you know your rear diff is no good because you'll go to drain it out and both will come out basically like a pinkish, oilish colour. It'll be quite horrible. But yeah, just a little note there. So these take roughly about 4.5 litres of engine oil. In this, because it's a stock engine, we're just using 540. And we'll put just a tad over 4 litres in, dip it, check it, and then once on the dipstick we'll run that up for like 10 seconds, turn it off, let it settle, do something like a screen wash, recheck it, top up to necessary, and that's it done. And that'll be pretty much the service done then. It'll just be a case of sorting out if there's a service book or not. Yeah, but that's about it in a road test.
Right guys, that is it. So you've seen Josh do the service and the cam belt. Got a few questions. We've basically been asked a couple of questions. We put this on Instagram whilst it was happening, which is probably a couple of weeks since now this video's gone live. But what we have got is a couple of general questions. I'm going to read out a couple of questions just so that may help you guys if you have similar questions when you're thinking about getting your Evo serviced or the cam belt done. So quite a few people have asked how long will the service take and can they wait while we do it? So the Evo service, the full fluid Evo service, which is one that's recommended every 4,500 miles, is approximately 2.5 hours long, and that includes the full fluid change and the inspection, and that is a couple of hours, 2 to 2.5 hours. We can accommodate you while we get your car serviced. So we've got a waiting area, Wi-Fi, tea and coffee facilities. So you're more than welcome to wait here on site while we do the service. Alternatively, if you need to go off, to work or do some jobs or something while you're here, well, then we can offer you a loan car. So there's both options. Leave it with us, or you can wait on site. How often should I get my cam belt changed? So the Mitsubishi maintenance schedule for the cam belt is every 5 years or 45,000 miles, whichever comes first. So what we find is, generally speaking, people don't do the mileage, especially nowadays in the Evos 4 to 9s. They don't use them every day, so they're not really covering that sort of mileage. So it's generally every 5 years the cam belt needs to be done regardless of the mileage, because the car sitting still doesn't do it particularly a lot of good, especially rubber belts, things like that. They do perish and they can shorten their life expectancy, so it's always good to do it by age if you're not doing the mileage. So that one's the cam belt question. Service intervals, again, Evos, they are done by time or distance based. Again, same as the cam belt really, you're not probably going to do the mileage. It's every 4,500 miles or 6 months for the Evo service. I think nowadays people aren't using these cars as much, so it is a little bit overkill to service them every 6 months if you're only doing a few thousand miles a year. What we find is acceptable, which we do with the Evos and the GTRs, is we change that 6 monthly service interval into like a yearly annual service. For example, the car in the video you've just seen, that is a very good customer of ours called Ryan. He's been coming to us for 11 years now. Yeah, he's been coming since 2012. He was actually, I've got a photo of his car in this unit when we first moved here in 2012. So yeah, he was one of our first customers in this unit. So he's been coming to us every year on the button for a service and an MOT, and he doesn't do the mileage. I know Josh explained in the video that these oils looked really clean, and they were very clean because I've just looked at the history on the computer, and he's done approximately 250 miles since his last service last year, he wants to keep the service history up, so he comes here once a year, gets the service, gets the MOT, and gets the stamp in the book. So for him to come on the Mitsubishi maintenance schedule, which would be every 6 months, he would have done, well, 100 miles, which is ridiculous. So yeah, we wouldn't advise him to do that because it's just a waste of money, quite frankly. And I think as long as you do it once a year, you're going to get your service stamp and you're going to get fresh oils, and that's perfectly adequate. So that was the service interval. Every 4,500 miles or 6 months is the book guide. We would say it's acceptable. If you're only doing a few thousand miles a year, just service it once a year. What is the mileage the Cambelt should be done? So I think I probably answered that previously, but that is 45,000 miles or 5 years for the Cambelt service. It's not Evo related, but it's do you service Audi RS models? I guess we've got obviously followers that haven't got an Evo, they've got other stuff. We do a lot of Audi servicing. We do a lot of the VAG models, so Volkswagen, Audi, Seat. We look after a lot of those. We've got good experience with them. I think 90% of the technicians here drive a VAG car, so it just shows they do like them, they do love them, and they know how to work on them. And we've obviously had project cars in the workshop here as well. We had my R8, which we twin turboed, RS6. So we've done various cars from basic servicing stuff to twin turbo builds on the VAG model. So well equipped to do all that. Just describe the servicing. I know Josh went through it on the video, but just in context so you know what we do on an Evo 4 to 9 service. It's very similar to an Evo 10 service in terms of the full fluid change. We change the engine oil, the transfer box oil, gearbox oil, and then at the back we do the rear diff and the AYC fluid. All these fluids get changed to a high quality Miller's brand, which is the best on the market. We feel is very, very good quality, and it's also good at a good price point as well. So we change all the oils, we check brake fluid, we change the air filter if it has one, if it has a standard one. Most people have got aftermarket intake kits, so they get cleaned out and washed. We check the spark plugs, and we go through all the safety procedures, safety points, check all the components, and as Josh showed you, inspect the chassis, because that's a big thing now on these cars as they're getting older and a bit more corroded, and that's a big one now. So that covers the service. I think to give you an idea of price, I'm just going to bring one up on the system. So as labour rates change and prices of fluids increase, which they have done recently unfortunately because of the economic market, things have gone up ever so slightly. So the Evo service, so this will cover an Evo 4 to 9 full fluid service, what you've seen in the video and what I've just described now. That price for that job, including all the labour, all the fluids, is £398 for that service. So it's a big service. The only thing that could be optional, sorry, that's my dog snoring under the table if you heard that. The only optional extra that could be needed on that is spark plugs. So within the service we check the plugs, we gap them if they're okay. If they do need replacing, then we will have to charge the cost of the plugs depending on what power car you've got and what plugs you do require. We will recommend the right plug for you, but they're approximately, they can be from £5 each to £15 each, and there's 4 of them, so it gives you an idea that could be an additional cost. The only other thing would be that's not on the price plan is the brake fluid change and the coolant. Again, we check those fluids, and if they are needed, we will replace them. So all in all, full fluid service is just shy of £400 plus the VAT. And if you tie a Cambelt into that, we will do a deal on the labour. We will reduce it slightly, but to give you an idea on a Cambelt on its own, that job is approximately 4 hours, and it includes a full Cambelt kit. So it's a OEM quality Cambelt kit with tensioners, pulleys, balance shaft belt and the Cambelt. Labour, parts, £495 plus the VAT for that one. So, and that's a job you have to do every 5 years. So it's a fair spend, but it's only every 5 years. So it's well worth getting that done. And again, for peace of mind, if you buy the car, you haven't got any history of the Cambelt, I would always recommend to get one done, and then you know where you are, you know the starting point, and you know when it will then need replacing moving forward. So I think that's it really. I think I've hopefully answered all your questions. That's the prices, that's the procedure, and yeah, we do these day in, day out, so we're forever servicing Evos, so we know them very well, we know what to look out for, and we are very experienced in what we do. So hopefully, yeah, we can look after you as well. And if there is anything you want to know that we haven't covered, drop a comment below. And yeah, give us a subscribe, thumbs up, that always helps, and we'll see you on the next one.